Hi, this video will show how to work with standard IO in Java. So in my previous video, I showed what text files really are. And in this video, I want to show how we can actually work with files in Java. And specifically, I want to start out with text files. So I have some files floating around here on my desktop. Let's open one of them. I have this one called my file, which says what are files line 2. So let's suppose I want to read this file. So how do I do that in Java? Let's read the file and try to print it to the screen. So I just created this very simple project. Cannot be any simpler than this. And I can print something here to the screen. Like I'll just print some dashes just to see if the program is up and running here. And it looks like it is. It prints the dashes. Everything is good. So let's say I want to read from that file. So first off, I need to know the path of the file. So maybe I should move it or just figure out the path. So maybe if I do like this. Oh, I can see it here, yes. And I go to see the Show in Explorer. And I can see this is the path. C users use a desktop and then myfile.txt. So let's just put that here. So I'll make a string file path equals and my file txt. And I use these double backslash because one backslash is an escape character in Java. Okay, so this is the path for my file. So let's say I want to read that file. So in Java, we have something called filereader that we can use for that. So if I type filereader, we can see that this is in java.io, which is the library I want to show for reading this file. So I can say filereader fr equals new filereader, and then I need to put the file name here or file path. So I put that here. And of course, because this file reader, everything can go wrong, Java will force us to handle this and any exceptions that might occur. So if it cannot find this file or I cannot read it because of permissions or something like that, I need to handle that. So I'll surround it with try catch, and if I catch the file not found, I'll print a stack trace. So if I do that, it should actually read the file. But of course, we cannot see anything because it just opens up the file reader. Okay, so now that we have a file reader, we can see what can we actually do with that. We can actually read. So if we look at that, we can reset, skip, all kinds of stuff. So we can read it into some kind of buffer or something like that. We can get an encoding. We can do some different stuff here. So the easiest way to actually read the file is if we use the scanner. So let me show that. So scanner equals new scanner, and then we need the input for the scanner, and that could easily be the file reader. So now that the file reader is put into the scanner, we can use the scanner to read. So we can say while scanner has next. So while there's some contents in the scanner, we can read it line by line. So we can say system out print line scanner dot next line. This will print out each line until there is no more lines. Let's try that. So it says, what are files? And then it says line 2. So what is really interesting here is that it actually creates 2 lines here, although I only have one print line. And even if I just use print, we can see, okay, so now we can see it only creates 1 line because of course there's only one. So what the scanner next line really does is it goes until it gets a new line character, either a Windows one or a Linux kind of new line character. And when it gets to that, it actually deletes it and then it prints it out. So you could say that the next line will actually eat that character or split the entire text file based on this. So yeah, so this is basically how you can read a file using the standard Java IO library and then using the scanner for getting it line by line. I think this is probably the easy way to do it. So what if we want to write something to the file? So let's try to put this into something like a new method. So I'll just create a new method here, public static void print file contents like that. And I will just put everything down here and maybe put the file path up here like a static variable here like this. So now I have the file path and maybe just print it out by using this method. So I kind of refactored it into its own method here like that. And it prints it out. Okay. So by using the print line, I actually put back the lines that I eat by using the next line in the scanner. So the next thing I want to do is then I want to print out, and then I want to add a line and print it out again. So let's make a method add to file and then put some line here, something like that, and then create this method in here like that. So now I want to add this line that I created like that. So now I want to add that to the file. So I can use the exact same method. Instead of using the file reader, I want to use the file writer instead. So what I can do is I can say file writer, and I can say fw equals new file writer. And once again, I want the file path. And once again, I get the error because I need to handle exceptions. So I surround it with a try-catch block for now. And now I want to actually do something. So I can say FW and then I can see what can actually do. And I can actually write something like, there's something called append and there's something called write. So I can choose to use whichever I prefer here. So we can see we can put with write, we can put a string. So let's try with that one. And I just want to write whatever text I get from up there. And then I want to print it again. One thing to notice that I didn't show before is you should actually close the file after being done with it. So we should actually do something like close to actually close the file after writing it. And we should also do that when reading the file. We should also close it afterwards. But that might be a topic for another video. This can give some other exceptions as well, like an IO exception. So now what I'm doing is I'm printing the contents of the file, I'm adding some text and then printing it again, and let's see what happens. So now I have a problem because I actually used write, and what write actually does is it overwrites the entire file. We can see if I do this again, it actually overwrites the entire file. So what we should have done, if we want to add to the file, we should actually use the append option instead. So like this, we add. So by using the append option, we can add to the file. But still something is wrong here. So let's try to dive into that. So let's just see what's going on. So if I look at the java.io file writer, let's just try to look at the documentation. I try to look that up. Zoom a bit, doesn't matter with the version. It's so we can see we can put a file here, and then actually what we can do is we can actually, after this, we can actually say, do we want to append to the file or not? So it is this one here. It constructs a filewriter object with given name and boolean indicating whether or not to append the data written. So that actually means we should have said that we want to append to the file if we want to append to it. So let's try to go back and fix that. So what we want to do is we want to add that, yes, we want to append, and we can see it says append is true, and then we try again. And we can see it actually does that. So maybe we also want to add another line. Let's see if we have something here for adding the line. So it's not like built in, but we can use adding the line here, like say plus, and then we can add a new line character by using /n. And this is just a new line character. So we can use carriage return as well if we want to do it the Windows way, or there's other versions of this. Let's just try with the /n. And we see that it doesn't actually work. Doesn't actually make a new line. Let's try with rn. And all of a sudden we get a new line. So what we can see here is that we use, we want to use, because I set this up like this, because this is Windows, we need both to make a new line character. So we use /r/n. So this is what worked here. And we can actually, if we look this file up in our hex editor, let's just try open and then open up my file. We can see the different characters here. Like here's 0A, and we should also something like that, and 0A here. So we can actually end 0D and A here. So here it actually inputs a new line, and for the others it doesn't. So, but if we show it in something else, which is not Windows, it will work with just the /n. So let's go back. So that's it. So this is how we can add to the file, and remember the append true. And this is also how we can actually print the file contents or read from a file. So the next thing we might want to do is what to do if we actually want to change something in the middle of the file or something like that. So there are different strategies to that. So different ways we can achieve that. And one of them is just going through the file, searching through the file and adding it, and then rewriting the entire file. And this is the one I'm going to show you now. So we're going to make a method for that. Going to make a method that can append to the file at a specific line. So I'm going to say private static void add text at line, and then we're going to say string text int line number. So then we can have line number and a text we want to add at that line number. So the first thing we could do is we could actually just read the contents of the file into memory and then write the file. So let's try to do that. So we need the same as down here. We need a file reader, and we can read the file with the scanner. So let's copy that up here. So now I read the entire file. And again, we need to have here, we need to surround with try catch. And of course, this needs to be within the try catch block like that. And this one will also give us another kind of exception. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted. Wanted it down here like that. So now we actually read the file line by line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it into a temporary string, and we're going to call it file input, and just an empty string by default. And then I'm going to add all of the lines to the file input. So the scanner has next line, next, find in line to string, etc. So there's a lot of stuff we can actually do here. Let's just use the one that we actually already did before. So we'll just use the next line for this. So now that we put all of this into the input, we should remember that the next line actually eats up the next line character. So let's put Windows formatted next line here. Might not be best practice, but we'll do that in this case anyway. And then we close the file. So then we might use the file writer to actually append at a specific place in the text. So what we can do now is just run through the amount of lines that we want. So this one we can put a counter in here. So we can say int count lines equals 0. And after each line, we count it up. So we say count lines plus plus. And we can go here and say if count lines is equal to the line number Then we say file input plus equal to text plus, and we do the line break if we imagine that's what we want, and then we close the file. So the next thing that we have to do is we need to just rewrite the file, and we saw down here how we could do that. So instead of using append true, we could just do like this, and instead of using text we use file input, and this way we overwrite the entire file with the input that we want here. So of course this is not the best way to do it. I'll show better ways that we can work with this. One of the problems is of course that we kind of rewrite the entire file at this point in time here. And also if the file is very, very big, we get into problems. So let's say it's a 2 terabyte file or something like that. Then we need to read 2 terabytes into memory, which is not very good thing to do. So we will eat up all the memory of the computer. So yeah, but in this case, this will work. It's a small file and everything. So let's try it out. So let's try to do that. We add to the file some line. So let's see what the file looks like right now. So go in here, see, we'll put some line 0, some line 1, 2, and 3. Just remove this. Let me just zoom a bit. And let's see if we can put something in here. So let's close this one. So let's try that. So we'll try to add to the file. We'll, instead of doing this, we'll use our new method. So let's put a weird line in here. So we're going to say add text to line, and then we're going to say weird new one, and we'll put it in. And of course it needs to be, let's say, at line number 2. So we'll put a 2 here and then see if it works. So I'll run. And we can see that after line number 2, put in a weird new one. And we can also see that this is true for the file. So this was line number 2. We started with 0 based index. Here it says actually 1 on line 1. So we could move that if we wanted that, but this is a way to do it. We could also say, okay, we want it to be before this one. That would just mean that we would move this if sentence up before reading the line. So yeah, this is the only thing we need to change for that. So this is a way to do it. We read everything into memory and then append to the file. But as I said, it's not the best solution. It uses up a lot of memory. So that's it for this video. This is how to use the standard java.io, how we can add to a file and how we can read from a file.